All right, y'all. Yeah, went real oaky on us. We're going to be talking about exponents, and there's one main focus here that I really want to bring to attention. I'll spend more time on than anything else. Parentheses are very important when it comes to exponents. So this on A, we do have parentheses. So what I'm going to do is I count them 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 times. And since each one is being multiplied, what that tells me is I'm going to take this number, which they all are. If this number were to change, I only count how many of the same exact number. And if there's parentheses, I copy the parentheses with the number inside. And then I put an exponent that matches the last counted number. So this is saying quantity -7 times quantity -7 times quantity -7 is the same thing as -7 cubed, or to the third. And I have now written the product using an exponent, and I'd be done. But here's some understanding that I want us to be able to do. There is a complete difference between -7 to the third and quantity -7 in quantity to the third. Now, that's a very formal way of saying it. There's other ways to say it. But that's how we're doing this. These are not the same thing. So if I change this color to my purplish, and I just trace over it, I'm going to take a moment to really try to illustrate this. -7 to the third is -7 times 7 times 7. In other words, the negative actually belongs to the answer. It was just given to the 7 because we haven't multiplied it all out. Whereas, let me write it this way. Whereas this, what's in green, quantity -7 is meaning I have 3 -7s, and that's going to be equal to this. Now, using a negative exponent may not be the greatest because we technically end up with the exact same answer. What I mean is if you take a calculator and you take 7 times 7, that's 49 times 7, or 350 minus a 7, so 343. 343. So 7 cubed is equal to 343. So the opposite of 7 cubed is equal to the opposite of 343. By the way, that's how you would read this, the opposite of 7/3, not necessarily the -7/3. It's a lot more accurate because this is better read because of the difference between the two as opposite of 7 cubed. We'll put it that way. Not third, 7 to the third, or 7 cubed. Whereas what's in green would also be -7 cubed is equal to -343. This is actually -7. Why did I write one out but not the other? Here we go. 7 cubed. So similarities, we got the number 7, we got the number 7, we got the word cubed, we got the word cubed. But where they are dissimilar is this is read as the opposite of 7 cubed. And this one, I'm going to change this to a different color, there we go, is just read as negative. Opposite and negative are not the same thing. We would find out if we had changed this to the 4th power. So I'm going to use orange, or I'll do red first. So let's say we have negative 7 to the 4th power. That's equal to negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7, which is equal to positive 49, because these two make 49 positive. These two make positive 49. And I'm still multiplying, so 49 times 49. Now that I am definitely not doing in my head, because I have to end up subtracting, 98 from 50 times 50, 2 zeros, 20, 20. Oh, okay, no, I'm not doing that one in my head. I can almost get there, but whew. So I'm just doing 49 squared, 2409. Or sorry, 01. Oh. All right, I ran out of space, so I'm going to cross it out there and say 2401. Okay? So here, if I took this to one more exponent, I went to the 4th instead of the 3rd, I get a positive 2401. Now, here's what's going to happen if I do the opposite. Oh, I didn't want a highlighter. What am I doing? I wanted the marker. Here we go. And I changed that back to orange, and I'm going to be a happy guy. All right. The opposite of 7 to the 4th is equal to the opposite of 7 times 7. This is where it's going to become obvious, hopefully, which is equal to the opposite of 49 times 40. Ooh. I can't write and talk today at all. Harder time than usual. Opposite of 2401, and the opposite of 2401 is negative 2,401. So here, the answer to negative, or the opposite of 7 to the 4th, is negative 2401, whereas the answer to negative 7 to the 4th is actually 2,401. So one's negative, one's positive. And those are two different numbers, therefore they're two different answers. It's very important to understand whether there's parentheses there or not. If there are parentheses there, here's a little bit of a rule. With parentheses, if my exponent is even, my answer will be positive. If there are parentheses and my exponent is odd, my answer will be negative. If there's no parentheses, my answer will be negative. And that's how it works. Those are kind of the rules you got to work on knowing and understanding so you can just apply them. All of those rules come in and help define that all of these are different from it. So everything you see now below the orange line was just to help create those 3 rules. The rules are, again, if there are parentheses and my exponent is not positive, is even. Woo. If there are parentheses and my exponent is even, then my answer will be positive. If there are parentheses and my exponent is odd, my answer will be negative. If there are no parentheses and a negative sign, then my answer will be negative. It doesn't matter if my exponent's odd or even. A lot of words there. You can shortcut it however you want to, but that's how it works. With negative signs on our bases, parentheses, no parentheses, and exponents. All right, now we don't have to worry about it for the second one, so this one goes a lot quicker. So if we go back to our rule that I kind of just counted how many negative 7 in parentheses there are, I can do the same thing. I can go 1, 2 pi, so 1, 2 pi. So that means I'm going to take my base of pi, and I'm going to give it an exponent of 2 because I'm multiplying between each one. But then I have 1, 2, 3 r's, so I'm going to take my base of r, and I'm going to give it an exponent of 3. Now, the order matters on how we write these. We write them as a numerical coefficient or just a number. Then, after that, the order is reserved variables. Well, pi is a reserved variable. It stands for something we already know. We didn't just have it there as a placeholder for anything. It's there for something very specific. So it's a reserved variable. Then we have our unknown variables, or ones that we have to define and we're waiting to find out. There's nothing that it's specifically reserving at all times. In this case, that's r, and that's always written last. And our answer is pi squared r cubed. We could say pi squared times r cubed. We could say pi to the second times r to the third. There's multiple ways we can actually say this, but written, it's always the same. Pi with an exponent of 2, r with an exponent of 3. We don't need parentheses. We don't need a dot. We don't need a multiplication symbol, because anytime we have variables sitting next to each other, it means multiplication. And if we had a number in front, that would also mean multiplication. So that's it for this one. I know it's a longer one, but there's a lot of understanding that we gotta understand, that we gotta get onto and start with when we have these negatives and parentheses when it comes to exponents.